Okay. Here we'll have different types of lock: shade lock, update lock, exclusive lock. Okay. In the SQL Server, when a shade lock will happen, when the update lock will happen, when the exclusive lock will happen, we are going to read now. Okay. So basically, like the general thing is that most probably like update or shade lock, it's only it is not an entire table. But when you do the exclusive lock, you can't do anything on a table. Okay. The first scenario, shade lock. When you are writing a select script on that table, okay, when you're writing a select script on a table, when you're writing select star from table, okay, whenever you're doing the select star from table, here a shade lock will be applied on the table. Shade lock. Here in the shade lock, what happens when it is shade lock? Others people, they can write a select query. They can write a select query, but they can't insert or update the data into a table. They can't do any operations on a table except select. Shade lock means they can only select the data, but they can't modify the data. They can't modify the data. Okay? They can't modify any data. So that's where the select will appear. Okay? The shade lock. Shade lock means you will have the like lock created on a table where only the select operations can be performed on a table. So shade lock will happen. The best example is whenever you run the select query on a table, a shade lock will happen. During that process, only select queries, only you can view the data, but you can't modify the data. So in order to view the data, you will only write select query, right? Modify means you will insert or update, so that all operations will not occur. Next thing, update lock. Okay, update lock means what will happen. So let's say you are doing some operations on a table, okay, or else you are inserting a data, inserting data, inserting data into a table for inserting like million records. Let's assume you have written some update query to update the record which is already there. That update record is not even related to this new data because that data is already there in a table. Let's say the table has 100,000 records. Now you are inserting 100 records. Now if you want to update one of the records from the old 100 records, then what system will do? System will update only the particular record which you want to update. That only that one will be logged. So you can do the other operations on a table. Okay, when we did this in this scenario, it was the shade. It's a kind of an update log because you're doing select star. Whatever the data you have up to that time, so you were able to retrieve. But whatever the data is after that, you are not able to retrieve. Okay. Exclusive lock. When you have the exclusive lock on a table, you will not have any option. The table will be locked completely. You can't perform any operations on a table. You can't perform any operations on a table. Okay, the table will it will be locked. The table will be locked totally. Okay. Now this is the day. I'll give other table now. I'll execute this. Then I'll execute this. Okay. Let's keep on executing. So I want to insert some data into your date. Now I'll insert the data from date 2 into the date 1. Okay. So during this process, Whatever the data you got inserted at that time, only that will be there. Apart from that, you will not have other data. Okay. Now what I am going to do, once it is done, then I'm going to update some data on a table. Update dim day 1 set here, right? You got some column called previous year equal to year of date day -1. And one more thing, you can see this other type. I'll write only, I'll insert only top 10,000 records. Okay, I'll insert only top 10,000 records into a table. So what I'll do, I'll execute this select star print and then I'll insert. Then you'll see some difference. Now I'll execute this. The query is still running. During that process, I want to insert the data. It will insert. But if I try to update it, see now. How many records I got on the dim day column? It has like 12460,480. 12460,480. It has around 1 million, right? $12 million. It has 12 millions data. Okay, it has 12 million data. Now we'll check. After getting the 12 millions data, then see the update query will still run. Update query will still run. But now if I stop this query, then only the update query will execute. See, it took like 1 hour 40 minutes, but what the backend, what will happen? It will wait until this select is done. Okay, it will wait until the select statement is, because you are writing the select query. So during that process, exclusive operator will be there. Only that will have that operation, right? Like exclusive lock will be there. So that's the reason. Sorry, when you write the select star from, it will be having only the shade lock. That means you cannot perform any of the update operations or anything. If I do the same operation now, previously it took around like 2 minutes, right? Now it should not take that much time. Okay? Because why it took more time is that when I do in the select, the system will, during that process, a shade lock is applied on the table. When there is a shade lock, you can only use the selects. You can't use the updates on that. See, now it took only 28 seconds, but previously it took near to 2 minutes because there was a shade lock. Okay? And when I try to update the table, okay, I am updating a table. Now what I will do, I will update the same table here where, and I'll write the same command here where date day equal to 2016-01-01. How much time it should take oddly? It should take oddly like 1 minute. But now it will only be done once this query is done. Okay. Now I'll execute this query again. After running that query only, this query will execute. See, still this query will run because there is exclusive lock. You can't do any operation there. Okay. See, once that query is done, then only this will execute and the table will be updated. See, you can see the difference. When it executed immediately, this was done. Okay, that is for the exclusive. Like there are different types of locks. Once you go into the Google and use it, then you'll get that kind. And one more thing. So let's say that there might be so whenever you are using select star from table. Okay, whenever you might be using select star from EMP. During this process, if there is a lock on a table, then what will happen? You will not be able to pull the data. Then you can write with no lock. When you write with no lock option, if there is a lock on a table also, your query will eliminate that. Your query will ignore that lock and you will be able to pull the data, even though there is a lock on a table. Okay? So everyone is clear with this? Now we are going to see about the isolation levels. In the SQL Server, you will have read committed, read uncommitted, repeatable read, and serializable read and snapshot. Okay. So read uncommitted means, let's take you are updating a table. What will happen whenever you update a table? The first thing, the data, whatever the data you are updating, that will be logged, and after that it will return into the final database. It will commit into the database. During that commit process, if you want to see the data before commit, it get committed, then generally the system will not show you the data which is not committed. It will not show you the data which is not committed. Okay, that is uncommitted. So the data is read committed means the data will, by default it will be a read committed. Okay, by default it will be a read committed. Only the committed data will be, you can see the committed data. When you use a read uncommitted, even though the data which is not committed into the database, that one you can see it. And then you have the serializable read and repeatable read. Means when you can, if someone is there is a lock on a table, but still you can update a table. Okay, like different scenarios where there's a stuff where you can't insert a data into a table unless the lock is being removed. But during that process you can update it. Okay, that are both the serializable and repeatable read are both the same. Okay, like first we'll have the repeatable read. After the advanced feature for the repeatable read is nothing but the serializable read. We'll go and check each and one example. Then you'll be knowing. First we will see the read uncommitted data. Okay, the best example for the read uncommitted is, I've created some tables here. Yeah, I've created some table. I'll copy the script as it is, paste it in my table, in my windows. I'll have two windows open. I'll have one window, I'll have other window. This is my window. Okay. First thing, I'll create the table. I'll create the table. The tables are created. Now done. I'll remove it. What I'll do, in my read committed, I got two windows. Okay. This is the one window, query one. I'll copy the query one. Paste it here. Next, I'll take the query 2. Paste it here. Okay. See now what I am doing. I'm updating a table, that by using a commit transaction. I'm updating a table by using a transaction. Transaction is what will happen. This table will update, but the data will not be committed until and unless you do a rollback. Until and unless you do a rollback, the transaction will not be committed. Okay. So first what I'll do, I'll give it here 20 seconds. I'll give it here 20 seconds. Okay. What I'm going to do, I'm going to run this query. Okay. What will happen? The data will try to update it and that query will be logged. See, I'll run this query and I'll do the select star from. Previously, you might have seen when I did the select star from, during the update process, I got the data because it's not in the transaction. But here, it is in the transaction. When I have it in the transaction, then when I write select, it will not, I'll not be able to pull the data. Okay. See, I got the data, only this is done. Only once this wait is done, then only I got the data. Now you can see again, execute it and immediately I'll execute it. What happens? I've given the wait as 20 seconds. After the 20 seconds is done, then only my process, then my process will execute, because after this 20 I'm doing a rollback, so you'll get the data from a table. Okay, I got it. This is what I'll get it. Now see, I'll execute this. If I use read uncommitted, then I'll get this one. See, when I use a read uncommitted, even though the transaction is still running, but I'll get the data from a table. That means when you use a read uncommitted, even though data is committed or not, it doesn't matter. You'll just get the whatever the data you got in the table at that time, you'll get the data. Now see, I'm setting the column as 4, column 1 as 4. I'm executing now. Now if I run this read committed, what will happen? I'll have the column 1 data as 4. But here what I'm doing, I'm updating the column 1 to 4, but immediately after that I'm rollbacking it. Means the data will not be there in the column 4 as 4 because it's not committed. After I'm doing the rollback. Now see, I got this. Give me 1 minute, guys. See now, I got 4. But if I execute the same again now, you will still have the old data. Means you are reading the bad data. Even though you are reading the data which is not at all committed, not at all finalized. That is nothing but the uncommitted. Whenever you use uncommitted, you will get the very bad data. Because during that process, whatever the data you got at that time, I'll get the data here as 4. But what you are doing, it has updated. Okay, I got 4. But after 20 seconds, you are doing a rollback. So whatever you updated for, it will be gone. Okay, that's the reason when I do the transaction, during that wait time, whatever the data uncommitted data it has, it is showing. But after that, if I run the same process again, it's showing as 1 because it's not committed, right? This is the way how it works here, the transaction stuff. This is the read committed, read uncommitted. By default, you will have the read committed. Okay, by default, you will have the read committed. If I execute this, this will not run. This will keep wait until the data has been committed. After data is committed, then only I'll get this data. Okay, by default read committed. Even though if you don't have anything, it's the same. If you have the read committed, if you have the without that, both are same as a read committed only. Okay, are you good with that, guys? So that is read committed, the same. So it's same. Next, we'll go and see the repeatable read. Okay, repeatable read is nothing but whenever you have a transaction. Okay, and you might be pulling the transaction 2 times. See now, I'll show it to you. And one more thing, guys, since I have set the isolation level to read committed, what I'll do, I have to close that window and open a new window, or else the same isolation will be there for that window. Okay, I'll carry now. Now what I'm going to do, I'm running here, I'm running a query. What the query does, I'm starting a transaction. After that, I'm doing a select star from. Then I'm waiting for 10 minutes, and then I'm doing a select star from. 10 seconds. I'll make it as 20 seconds. I'll make it as 15 seconds. Okay, 15 seconds will be a good it will enough time for us to read. Oh. Okay, now I'll start it and I'll update a table. Update record as -1. The updated has been done. Okay, so sorry, I had to do one more thing. First thing, I'll do the column as 2. Yeah, so updated as -2. Before that, I'll show you one thing. So update the column as 2. Now see what data I have in the column. I have to explain this. The column 2 has 2 as a value. Okay, it has a 2 as a value. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to do this begin trans and select. Okay, now I'm updating. What will happen? The first, okay, I'll update to -2. First value before updating it was 2, so I'll get 2. But after updating, I've named it as -2, so you'll get 2 in the transaction. Means during the transaction, you are getting 2 different values. In the first time, you are getting different value. Second time, you are getting a different value. Can you see this? It's a bad thing, right? Hello? So this is nothing but the way you are going to do. Okay, this is nothing but the repeatable transaction. In the repeatable transaction, what will happen is that here the table will not be locked because you are done with the locking. Because in the select there is nothing, right? When you do the select operation, there is nothing, you are updating a table, so you will always have the data which is committed only. Okay, always have the data which is committed. So that's the reason that there is no lock implemented on the table. So that's the reason you can update the table. So when you update it, the first record after doing the select, you are waiting for 15 seconds, and during that process if you do any updates in the second select query, you will have the updated record. So it should not happen. This is nothing but the read uncommitted, sorry, repeatable read. So if you are trying to read a data from a table where the data is being frequently updated, that transaction isolation level, you will call it as a repeatable read, reading the same data again and again with multiple values. Okay, but the issue is, the one thing you have to see here, I did just begin trans, but now I'll add the command here, repeatable read. Set transaction level to repeatable read. Now see the difference, because I have not given any repeatable read here. Okay, I have not given any repeatable read, but now I am going to give the repeatable read. Previously when I given, there is no log, but when I give the repeatable read here and execute this query to, because previously it has -2, now I'll execute it to update it to -4, and see, previously the column has -2, right? But it will not allow me to update the transaction here because there is a repeatable read. Since I have the repeatable read, see, even when I try to update it, it will not allow me to update until the transaction is completed. Okay, whenever you are trying to read the data from a table, see, the first time when I executed, I got the same output. Second time also I got the same output, but when I try to execute now, it will show as a -4 in the column. Guys, are you able to get this? Okay, but there is one disadvantage with this repeatable read is, I'll run the query, I'll have some insert statement, insert into, okay, insert into transaction isolation. I'll insert data into only one column. I'll have a column insert into ID. This is the data I'll insert. ID is values of 2. Okay, now I'll set the repeatable read. I'll insert a value 12 into the table by writing an insert query. Oh, it is identity column. Okay, sorry. I'll update a column into a separate table. So I'll insert the data into the column 1 as 12. Okay, now execute it. When I update it, it will throw an error. It will go into the loop, and once it is done, then it will happen. But I can insert the data. The data will be inserted. Now you can see the repeatable read will only work for the update. It will not work for the insert. See, first time I'll have the 7 records, but the second time I'll also get the record which I've inserted, new record 12. But when I do the update, it will not do. It will only happen after doing the after running the queries. Then only the update will happen after running completion of the transaction. But insert, I can insert anytime. Can you see that, guys? Difference? Okay, that is nothing but the repeatable. But in the repeatable read, it will not allow you to update, but it will allow you to insert. In order to overcome this insert operation, now you'll go with the serializable read. I'll copy the same thing here. Okay, Control C. Now I'll set the transaction on the top to serializable read. Okay, to serializable. Now I'll execute this. So during the serializable, even though I update it, it will not allow me to update. At the same time, it will not allow me to insert also. Currently, I am trying to update the record. Okay, it will not allow until unless the transaction is done. See, it is done, then only my update query is executed. Now we'll run the same serializable again, and now I'll try to insert. Insert also will not work on the serializable. So that is the difference between repeatable. You can't update, but you can insert. But in the serializable, you can't update, and you cannot also insert the data. Okay. So now the table will have the same here, see, the table will have the same. But now if I see the select star from, because I've inserted a new record, right, I'll get more number of records. It has 8, but now I got 9 records. See, simple. Okay, that is nothing but the isolation levels in SQL Server.